Good evening. My name is Dianne Whelan, and I am a documentary filmmaker, author, photographer. Every trail has a story, and every person that does that trail will have their own story too. This is my story about the 28,000 kilometer Trans-Canada Trail, which is the largest recreational trail in the world. This baby is brand new. It was born in 2017. It connects three oceans, the Atlantic, the Arctic, and the Pacific. It is made up of 487 different land and water trails, all stitched together to form one long trail across this land. My goal was to do one continuous line, starting in St. John's, Newfoundland, going across Canada to northern Alberta, paddling 4,000 kilometers up to the Arctic Ocean, and then coming back down to Victoria. That was the idea. I had made a film on Everest. I'd made a film in the high Arctic, so my idea was to make a film on this journey called 500 Days in the Wild, which actually just opened up in theaters across Canada, and you can stream it on Paramount Plus. So for an artist like me, the trail isn't just a physical thing. It's like an umbilical cord. It's a metaphor. It's an umbilical cord that connects us all across this land. And I went looking for a new story, one that honored the story of this land that goes back thousands of years ago. I wanted a story that includes everyone. And I felt like a trail that connects us all would be a really good place to find that story. And of course, the trail had never been done. Over what became 6 years, I followed old rail lines and single-track trails through forests and along coastlines. I paddled thousands of kilometers in a canoe on ancient indigenous water trails, and I followed dirt roads and paved pathways through Canadian cities. All trails, different pages in the storybook of this land. And along the way, I learned 7 things that I want to share with you right now. What being on a trail almost every day for 6 years taught me. 1, it doesn't matter if you're walking a block, a kilometer, or 5 kilometers. It all begins with putting one step in front of the other. This is an incredibly powerful lesson, actually, if you think about it, to be reminded about every day on your 20-minute walk or your 2-hour walk, because every goal that you seek to achieve in your life can be achieved if you can actually break it down into small steps. When I left Newfoundland on July 1st, 2015, if I had thought about the 24,000 kilometer line I was about to begin, I would never have begun. My mind would have said, this is not logically possible. There's a couple reasons for that. One of which is I had just turned 50 when I left, not exactly the age that you're going to, embark on an extreme adventure. And the second thing, of course, was that I'm not an extreme athlete. I'm an artist. But I wasn't thinking about it that way. The way I decided to think about it was I was just going to put one step in front of the other and try my best and just do what I could every day. The second thing I learned was the importance of being in the moment. When you're out in nature, you have to be in the moment. You are aware of it doesn't really matter what's going on in the news. It doesn't matter what's going on at home. When you're out in nature, what matters is what's the temperature, what's the air, what's happening around me right now. Is the wind picking up? What's happening in the sky? What's happening on the water surface? Maybe a bird is chirping, a little woodpecker's going for it. These are the things that kind of bring you to your attention. Are there tracks on the ground, fox tracks, deer tracks? Who am I sharing my space with right now? So one of the second gifts of being out on the trail is it brings you to the moment. The third thing that I would like to bring attention to is the respect for nature. 6 years out there, and I knew that there was no way I was going to conquer anything. It wasn't about conquering anything. It was going to be about connection to, a connection with. The only way I would be able to survive this journey was to respect nature. And, during my time out there, I realized that humans are just 0.001% of all life on Earth. And when we step outside of these urban environments, whether for a walk through a city park or deep into the forests, we connect to that other 99.9%. So, number 3, respect for nature, and that reconnection to the web of life, that reminder that we are a part of something much larger than we are. The 4th thing I learned and remembered was, the best things in life are free, a hand to hold, a smile, a laughter, but also the trails are free. All trails are free. I mean, the Trans-Canada Trail is 28,000 kilometers of free trails, but we have a lot of trails. And this is an incredible asset. There are people in communities across this country right now working very hard to keep these trails accessible for us all and for the future generations. And I'll repeat again what's been mentioned a few times this evening is, of course, the health benefits of taking that hour out every day. It's been proven now by medical agencies all around the world that, walking is the best form of exercise. It's good for your mind, it's good for your body, it's good for your emotional health. So it's free, and it's one of the best medicines that you have at your disposal for your good health. Number 6, and this one was really a big healing one for me, is that when you're out on the trail, what divides us doesn't matter as much. In the 6 years that I traveled across this country, I met hundreds of people out there on the trail. No one ever asked me, are you liberal, NDP, or conservative? It just didn't matter, right? What mattered was that we had found ourselves in the same place at the same time. And so the conversations would be more like, hey, did you see that moose over there? Or, hey, there's a great place to get drinking water up there. Or, you want to come sit by my fire? And it brought people together, diverse people I might not normally have sat down and talked to. So trails are an incredible place where maybe what we share becomes more important than what makes us different. And number 7, fostering a connection to nature will probably save our species. If you teach a child that a tree is lumber for a house, they're not going to really be that inspired to protect that tree. But if you teach that child that that tree produces oxygen, it converts carbon dioxide into oxygen and produces air that we and all living species require on Earth, now you're bringing something else to the table. Trees also have medicine, trees also have shade, and trees also have wisdom. One of the best lessons I learned on the trail came from my time with the trees. I left a fervent individualist. And one morning when I was dragging my canoe out of the snow, where I got stranded, I had a lot of time to think about that individualism. And I came to the realization that maybe it was actually an illness. And as I was sitting there and thinking this, I was looking, every tree on the surface looks like it stands alone. But beneath the surface, all those trees, all their roots are interconnected. And so too are we. So I can't emphasize enough the importance of our survival based on teaching our children a love and a respect for nature. It is going home, So in conclusion, when you walk or paddle a part of the Trans-Canada Trail near you, or any trail on this land, that for all our differences between each other, this is what connects us all. We share home. We share a responsibility to look after nature and nurture this land as stewards to protect the water, the air, and our food supply, because we have a responsibility to generations of those who come after us. We are yesterday's descendants, but we are tomorrow's ancestors. And the trail connects us all. Thank you very much.